So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use the ShapR app, which is an Apple iOS CAD bit of software. Really handy. It's relatively new, so I'm going to show you the sort of things, the basic things that it will do. So first things first, we're going to open up your application, and you're greeted with a screen. Down on the left-hand side here, it does actually show you some tutorials. So if you did ever get time and you want to look a bit further into it, these tutorials are really handy. And actually ShapR do some official ones on YouTube as well. Basically going from sketch all the way up to high visual with many, many parts. So just coming out of tutorials again. So we are fundamentally on our main menu screen and we just want to create a new project. So I'm going to hit create a new project, and then it will come up with the screen for the document, which has the 3 axis points on. So ShapR uses the Apple Pencil as well as fingers to control gestures and have other controls. So sometimes that can be a bit confusing when you start out using it, but I'm going to teach you through and I'm going to show you where I'm clicking, etc. Hence why I'm doing it this way and not a screen grab. So using one finger, you can obviously rotate around the document, which is quite nice and easy. Using 2 fingers, you can obviously pan left and right, and also you can zoom in and out of your document quite nicely and easy. So really using your fingers is going to be the main navigation tools that you use. In the top corner up here, there's a little cube, and if you click and hold down, you can basically rotate around your document, but you can see on the cube what the top is, the front, the bottom, the left and the right, and also the back. And so this is another really nice way of accessing different parts of your document. So say if I was to rotate it to see the top there, if I click now on the top side of that cube, it'll actually take me to a direct, straight top view. If I go to say the right-hand side over here and click right, it's exactly the same. So this is a really easy, nice way to navigate your document, and we're going to use that a bit later on as well. If you was to use your pencil straight away, basically it starts your sketching tools, but we don't necessarily want that at the moment. So you'll see at the bottom, there's 2 arrows just down the bottom here. You have an undo and a redo button, just like in any other application you would have used in school. So because I didn't want that sketch, I'm just going to hit the back undo button, and then because it's entered sketching mode, I'm just going to hit the exit sketching mode there, and we're back to that square one. So first things first with this pizza cutter, we're going to design, well not necessarily design because there's the engineering drawing, but we're going to draw up the handle part first, okay? So first things first we're going to do is go to the front view, and I normally start designing directly where the 2 axes meet, just to make it a nice central point. And then we're going to click over onto the sketch button. And for this, we're going to draw the end of the handle, which nearest basically the cutter. And I know that's going to be a circle, so I'm going to hit circle. And if I now click down in between these and drag out, you'll see I can start drawing a circle. And it's really hard to get an exact measurement this way. So no matter what measurement it is, I normally just let go. And where it says here at the moment, it says 15mm diameter, I'm going to click down on it with a pencil, and it brings up a little dialog box, and you can manually type in the dimensions there. So I know it's going to be 16mm, and hit OK. And now we have a 16mm diameter circle. If I hit exit sketching up there and use my finger, you can now see it in a 3D space, just that circle hovering, okay? The next step is to draw the other end of the handle, which is going to be another circle, and this time it's going to be a 26mm circle. But I'm going to show you a really easy way of copying this. So what we're going to do, using the pencil, we're going to click down on the inside of the shape, and it will turn to a light blue color. This is quite handy because you can do lots of things with this now. Over here, it's moved, there's a button that says move and rotate. So we're going to hit the move and rotate. And you can see lots of these different arrows are coming up on this shape now. This can move it in all axis and even rotate it in different axis, but I'm going to show you the one that we're going to use. First of all, I click the copy button because when I move this, I want it to make a copy of that shape. And I'm going to drag down on this arrow just here to bring a copy across. And at the moment, the little dialog box there says I've dragged that from that circle 19 millimeters, but I know the length of this handle is going to be 125 millimeters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that, type in 125 and hit OK. And now you can see 125 millimeters. That's the other end of the handle. So I can deselect all, so you can see them there. The only problem with this one is it's still 16 millimeters because I just did a direct copy. So what you can do is click on the area that says 16 millimeters just down here and change it to the diameter it should be, which I said it was 26. So 26, there we go. And you can now see if I zoom out the two ends of the handle, the right size. What we want to do now is get the application shaper to actually make the handle, so basically filling in a mass in between these two shapes. So the way we do that, I normally get into a view where I can see both of them. I'm going to click down with the pencil on the middle of that shape, click in the middle of that shape, so you've got them both highlighted. And then in the More section, which is on the menu bar here, click More, and the very top one is called Loft. And what that does is it automatically draws in the shape in between two flat surfaces that you've just made. So if I hit Loft now at the top there, you can see it is now filled in between these two shapes, and that's exactly what we want. And all I'm going to do now is hit the Deselect All button. When you look at the engineering drawing, you can actually see at the end of the handle isn't actually a flat end. It is actually a really nice domed radiused end to it. So I'm going to show you how to put a really nice radius on this end. So with the pencil, really carefully, you're just going to click on the outside edge of that end, and there you should see two things. You'll see a double-ended arrow, which you can manually pull out and move, or that dialog box where you can actually type it in what you want. So if I just show you, if you drag one way, you get a really nice radiused end. If you go the opposite way, it turns into a chamfer. And you can see just on the figure here, it goes to minus figures if you want a chamfer. But we know, looking at the diagram, we want a 12 millimeter radius. So we could either keep on dragging until we get to 12 millimeters, or click on the number, type in 12, hit OK, and then deselect all. And now you can see we've got a really nice domed end on the end of the handle there. That's exactly what we need. On the engineering drawing, on the other end of the handle, there's actually a 3 millimeter straight section, which is like a ring. And I'm going to show you how to do that now, but the body that we've just drawn may get in the way. So I'm going to show you something, how to turn the visibility of certain things on and off. So up in the top corner here, you've got items, and you see there's the body one. So if I zoom out a little bit so I can show you, if you click on the eyeball that's just to this side, you can basically turn it on and off for visibility. I'm going to turn that off, just close that down. And then we've got our second circle that we drew there, which I'm just going to turn off. We actually need to use the circle that we drew first. So I'm going to leave that visible, and then you hit the items again. And what we're going to do is create this 3 millimeter ring using this circle, because it's in exactly the right place. So we're going to tap in the middle of the shape again, and we're going to pull the double-ended arrow, which is going in the direction that we want the volume to come out. So as you can see, I'm going to pull, and it keeps on going up millimeter at a time. That says 9 at the moment. I know this section only needs to be 3, so I'm going to hit 3 and OK, and then deselect all. And you can see we've got a nice little section there, which is our ring. What you can do is go back to items. We can actually turn on the body now of that side. And you can see the 3 mil section is just on the end of there. You'll see in the items list here, there's sketch planes. And what those are the circles that we drew out, the flat 2D shapes. So actually, we're done with these now. We're not actually going to use them again. So by swiping left, you can basically hit the red delete on the 2 sketch planes, and now we're left with our handle, which is exactly what we want. The only thing that's missing now is the big through hole, which is in the handle at the end. And I'm going to show you how to do this. So I normally select the top view, so you get a really nice straight top view. And we're going to go into our sketch settings. And at the moment, we're just going to draw a rectangle. So if you imagine the curved oval that's in your engineering drawing as a square, it's drawn out that it's 10 millimeters by 28 millimeters. And it's 12 millimeters from that end. So if you zoom in, you can see every single millimeter, and I know 12 is just here. So what I'm going to do is draw a quick little shape here. Like I said, it doesn't have to be the exact measurements, because I can click these dialogues, these little numbers, and type them in manually. So 10 is actually right for that dimension, but I want 28 on this side. You can see that it's actually gone off the end of the pizza cutter handle now. So to move it, we select the middle point and then press and hold and drag down, and now you can move it exactly where we need it to be. So I can see the 12 millimeter line from that end, and I've put it directly in the place that it needs to be. And we can exit sketching and give it a rotate. What you'll notice though is it's dead center in the middle of the handle now, so it's going to actually be quite hard for us to select it, which we need to do. So what I'm going to suggest is go up to the items, find the sketch plane that we've just created and click on it. And then if we go into the more section on the left hand side, we've got a move and rotate, and we're going to hit the move. And like you had before, you've got all these different arrows, and we want to basically bring this square so it's above the handle. So we're just going to hit the y-axis, bring it up, and hit exit sketching and deselect. And you'll see now it's sitting above our handle. One of my favorite tricks now to basically cut this shape out of the handle is select by using the pencil, the whole shape. And where you would extrude, where you bring it down, you carry on bringing it down until it starts cutting into your handle. And you're going to keep on bringing it down and let go. And then you can see it's actually cut all the way through that handle, which is a really lovely trick. I love using this. Next step is to turn this into a nice oval shape. So what we can do using the pencil, really carefully, we're going to select these inside corner edges. So there's 4 in total, just got to find them. Take your time. See, I've actually selected something wrong there. I selected a whole surface, so I've clicked it again to deselect. There we go. And now I've got the 4 corners selected. And the same double-ended arrows turned up, where we can basically do a radius or do a nice chamfer. So I know we need a nice radius of, let me just have a look at it, 5 millimeters in total. So I'm going to hit 5, hit OK, and hit deselect. And now we've got that lovely oval shape cut out of our handle. The last thing that we need to do on the handle is put a little chamfer around this outside edge of the hole, a 1 millimeter chamfer. So like we've done before, I'm just going to carefully with the pencil select all of the outside edges, and this has separated it in a few sections, so you've got to make sure you select them all like that. And same again, you've got the double-ended arrow or the number box just there, and I want a 1 millimeter chamfer. So remember, I know a chamfer is a minus figure, so I'm going to go -1. There we go, and you can see that there's a really nice 1 millimeter chamfer around that hole. Just to show you what that would look like if it wasn't a chamfer and it was a radiused edge of 1 mil, you can see it's now a rounded edge on there. But like I said, chamfer for this design, so -1. That's the one side, but on the opposite side, we've obviously got the same. So really carefully selecting the outside edges. Ooh. I double clicked, so it actually selected the whole thing there. So what I'm going to do, Give it a go again. That's it, and then same again, -1. And a nice chamfer, deselect all. Perfect. So that is our handle completely finished. Now we're going to work on the blade holder and the tang of the pizza cutter. So in the very same way as we did the handle, we're going to create the blade holder. So what I've done is I've gone to the front view, so you can see the handles just there, but we're going to design this to the side, and I'm going to design all the bits separately, and then we're going to assemble it in the software in a bit. So this time, the end that we're going to work on is a square. So we're going to hit sketch, rectangle for this one. And then on this middle axis line again, I'm going to start to draw a measurement. For this end, I'm just looking at the diagram to see what size we're at. It's going to be a 12mm square. So we're going to go hit 12 on this side. I'm just going to hit this this top edge and go 12 as well. Perfect. And like I said, I always like to bring it right down onto the line just so I know exactly where I am, like that, and exit sketch. And we've got a nice square there, which is 12 by 12. We're going to extrude this because this section is going to go for 60mm. So clicking with the pencil on the inside and then extruding it. It's in minus figures at the moment, so we want to go to -60. There we go, that's the first section. You can deselect all just so we can have a look at it. So the next section of the blade holder, which is actually the tang, is actually 8mm. So I'm going to add it to this body that we've just drawn. So to do this, we're going to go to the back side here, and with your finger, I want you to double tap on the square face right at the end. And what that does is it helps to zoom in to that side, really nice and flat, and it makes it nice and clear for you to draw on. I'm going to hit, for this one, diagonal, rectangle, sorry, and then I'm going to just draw a shape. Like I said, I know this is 8mm by 8mm, so 8 on that side, click on this side, 8. There we go. And to move it, click on the middle, give it a bit of a move around, and it's dead center now on there. Exit sketching. Ooh. Okay. So now we want to extrude this middle square that we've just done. I know this section of that shape is going to be 50mm. So we're going to drag it over again, type in 50, just double checking the diagram, that's it. Okay, and deselect. So we've got a nice starting shape for the blade holder. There's actually a small thin cutout for where the blade actually goes, which is in this thicker end. So I'm going to show you how to draw that one. With the finger again, we're going to double click on this surface. And then we're going to need to draw a 44 by 2mm rectangle. So 44, going to click on this side. Let me just check, yeah, 2mm, that's absolutely fine on that side. But it's not directly in the right position, so I'm just going to click on that middle point, click and drag, and move it to where we need it. And exit sketching. And like how we did the hole in the handle, we're going to do exactly the same where we extrude and basically cut away this section by dragging it down and then deselect all. So you can see in there we've got that lovely section taken away where the blade will go, and you can obviously see that the square that we drew is still in the document. So what we can do is go through our sketch planes again because we don't need them. Make sure you don't delete the bodies because you'll have to redo it again. Next, with this shape, we're actually going to do the through hole, which goes through, which the pin goes through and holds the blade all in place. So we're going to double click on this surface just here, zoom in a little bit. And I know this hole is going to be the center point of the circle is going to be 6 millimeters from this end. So what we can do is grab our circle, going to draw a circle the right size, which is going to be 4 millimeters. Okay, and then we're going to move it around to the size we need. So I know from this very end, like I said, it's 6 millimeters in total. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up to there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. And then we can exit sketching again, and you can see that surface is marked with that circle. If you use the pencil inside the shape again to highlight that, we can do the same thing where we pull it all the way through the item. Make sure you don't keep on going through to the other body because it will cut through the handle. So you're only going through it, and you can see that there's a really nice hole where it should be there. And deselect all. Perfect. Last few things to do is we're going to do a nice rounded radius on these corners and the underneath corners here on this side. Because we know that that is 12 millimeters, we're going to do a radius of 6. Perfect, and deselect. Now you've got a nice rounded edge there. And what I think is quite nice is to take these harsh edges of these corners off. So I'm going to select the one here and here. Let's see how this looks. We're going, actually maybe select these ones. I won't select those ones yet, just these two sides, and we're going to do a -1 for a nice chamfer. Oh, that's perfect, so it's gone all the way around. So you've got a really nice shape for the blade holder and tang there. And we're just going to deselect. And essentially that is the blade holder and tang finished. I always like to check if there's any sketch planes, because obviously we drew that circle, and then I'm just going to delete that. If you was needing those shapes again in exactly the same bits, you just wouldn't delete them, but I like to get them out of the way just so it's nice and neat. So the next thing that we're going to draw out is the blade. So essentially it's a big 66 millimeter diameter circle. So to do this, we're going to hit on the right hand side view so we can see it. And I like to use the middle point that we've got already drawn up. So we're going to go into sketch mode, hit the circle, and begin the circle like we said right here. And I know the measurements exactly, so 66 diameter, hit OK. Zoom out a little bit, and you can see there the circle is in position, but it's cutting into the plane with the handle is. So I want to move it again like we did before. So we're just going to basically select it, find the move and the rotate, bring it over this way a little bit so it's out the way, and then we can work on it from there. So we're going to extrude this for a millimeter because that's how thick the blade is. So I drag it out a little bit, type in 1, and you can see it's a 1 millimeter blade just there. This inside edge has got a chamfer of 1 millimeter as well. So click on the little dialog box like always, hit 1, and remember it's -1 for a chamfer, and then you've got a really nice sharp one-sided blade there. Perfect. Hit deselect, and now what we want to do is work on the middle through hole, which is going to be in the center of this shape as well. So I normally double click using my finger on there, bring up my circle, find the middle spot, type in the dimensions, which is going to be 4 millimeter through hole. Perfect, exactly what we want. Hit exit sketching, just clicking inside that shape and then just moving it back to cut it out, and then hit deselect all. So you should be left now with a perfect blade. There's nothing more happening to that. It's nice and simple. And that just leaves the pin that we need to design. So before I work on the pin, I'm just going to delete any sketch planes that we've drawn that we don't need anymore. We can start working on the pin. Okay, so the pin is essentially a small little cylinder which is 4 millimeters wide by 12. Okay, so I'm going to basically hit on the right side view again. I'm going to hit sketch and the circle. And the first things first, we're going to draw a circle which is 4 millimeters. Perfect. Obviously it's drawn it right the way back again into the handle. So the easiest way of doing this is selecting it if you can, but you may need to go into the items and click on it. And then find the move and rotate. And then we're going to basically move it all the way out this way. Perfect. That's where we want it. And we're going to extrude this one again. So we're going to click on the middle and we're going to bring it out this way. This is going to be, I said 12 millimeters. So we're going to put this in for 12. Perfect. And deselect all. And then the little domed head part, what we can do is use our finger and double click on the end surface. Get the circle, and we're going to draw now I believe it's a 6 millimeter diameter. So type in 6, exit. There we go. And we can see that it's just on the end there. If we was to select now inside, it will still only select the end of that cylinder. So when we select that, we have to select this outer shape as well to extrude. And if I extrude that now, you'll see what I mean. See, it's selected both together, which we need. If we didn't do this and we just selected, say, the outside, it would do that kind of thing. Okay, so always make sure you've got both ends selected. So this comes out 3 millimeters in total. So I'm just going to type in 3 millimeters, hit OK, and that's the depth that we need for that part. Hit deselect all. And to create the dome effect, we're just going to select this outside rim, and we are going to do a radius of 3. And it should leave you with a really nice domed end. And then hit deselect all. And that now is all the pieces of our pizza cutter. So we can start assembling and putting them in place now. To start putting these in place and then assembling the pizza cutter, what I'm going to do is go to my top view. There we go, just to get a better view. And I'm going to first of all put the blade holder and tang into the handle itself. So to select all of this this element that we've drawn out, we can double click with the pencil and it selects all of them. And what we can do is zoom in a little bit and we can move it using the arrows. So I'm going to move it ever so slowly because I want this edge here to be in line with the end of the handle there. Okay, but what I need to do is just adjust it ever so slightly to get it dead center. There are tools where you can align this, but I'm just showing you how to do it by hand at the moment. So you can see it's now moved into place. The tang is inside the handle and the actual holder is sticking outside. So if I hit deselect all, that's that part done. Now the next stage is to double click on the blade and we're going to move that in exactly the same way. So I go to my top view. I'm going to go just in this way. Bring it in this way. If you look closely, it's really hard to get the blade sitting directly in the middle of this 2 millimeter gap. So what you need to do is zoom in a little bit more so the units cut down a little bit more, and now you should be able to get in there accurately and dead where you need it to be. So it's in the right position with that axis, but it's not actually in the right position in this axis because the hole needs to line up with the hole of the handle. So if I click on the right side view and then go to my left, we want to see that hole go directly through the middle there, and we know it's in exactly the right place. Hit deselect. That's perfect. That's exactly where we need it. And then that leaves the pin to put into the hole there. So to do that, same again, we're just going to double click using the pencil on the pin, click our top view, I'm gonna bring it nice and close to where it needs to be. Let's go to a different view now. And you can see that it needs to go this way a tad. If I turn it around, you can see that we're almost where we need it to be. Just going to double check on this left-hand side that it's where we need it to be. That's looking good. But the flat edge of the inside of the dome needs to go all the way up to the edge of the holder, which is there. And you should see the end of the pin will be flush with that side. And then we can just deselect all. And this is our finished pizza cutter drawn out. But obviously it's just a standard grey model colour at the moment. And I'm going to show you the fun part where we can actually visualise how this will look using different materials. And I'm going to show you that next. Before we go into the visualizer, I normally always like to correctly label the parts that we've made. So in the items section up here, you'll see all the bodies that we created going from 1, which is our first one, all the way down up to 5, which is the 5th one we made. So if I turn the first one on and off, we can just check that it's the handle. And then if I swipe left on the handle and click the middle icon, it'll allow me to rename the item. So if you use your finger and not the pencil, it'll bring up the keyboard. I just realized that was a bit of a glitch there. So for this first one, we know it's the handle. So I'm gonna type in handle. The second one is the little chrome ring that we're gonna put in it. Well, it can be any material of your choice, but on this one, I know it's gonna be chrome. So swipe left, enter. I'm just gonna put ring on this one. The next one is the blade holder and tang. Perfect. The next one actually is the blade. And then that'll leave the very last one to be the pin. I always like to do this because it makes it a lot easier if you come back to this design at any point or want to make any changes, but also when visualizing and changing the materials, it's a nice easy way of selecting each piece. So the visualizer, the fun bit. What you can do is if you click on this very top left icon where it says modeling, you can actually bring down a button called visualization. So if we hit visualization, you'll see it's kind of changed the render a little bit. It looks a little bit more realistic, but it's obviously still a matte grey colour. This is where you can now select manually or using the items, the individual sections. So say if I wanted to select the blade, I can hit it once. That would only do that one surface of the blade. So I kind of need to double click on it to select the whole blade. I'll go more into this in a little bit, but I normally prefer to select which bits I need from the items list. So let's select the blade, and in the top right corner, it says properties. And this is where we can change the material that it's made from. So at the moment it's set to the default grey material. If we hit the blue word change just here, and you can scroll through lots, and I mean lots of different materials. Obviously the colors can be changed as well, but it just gives you everything from plastics, metals, woods, I think there's glass and things in there as well. So for this one, we're going to use our metals, and I know in the industry, something like this would be a polished steel, for instance. So I'm going to hit polished steel, and now you can see in the visualizer that it's actually changed it to a really nice steel, okay? Next one I'm going to select is the tang and blade holder. And I want this to be like a nice brushed metal. So I'm going to hit properties. There's brushed titanium, but you would never get a pizza cutter made of titanium, really, not a budget one like this. Brushed steel, that's good. There we go. And I can hit properties to come out of this so you can see it a bit closer. There we go. So you can see the difference between the two. One's got a really nice brushed pattern on it. The ring will be the next thing that I want to concentrate on. So we'll get to the ring. And normally in the industry, those sort of little accent pieces would be something like a little chrome finished bit of metal. So I'm going to hit change. Any materials that you've already used come right at the top of any selection now. So it's got the brushed steel, the polished steel, and obviously the standard default grey. But then if we go now down to a chrome, standard chrome, there we go, and I turn that off. There we go, you can see the ring is now a nice little chrome. And you should be creative with the handle, really. It's completely up to you how you want it to look. So for this one, I'm going to change it to something quite boring and standard, which would be like a powder coated metal. There's powder coated metal just here. And if you hit properties, you can then scroll down and change the way it looks. So you've got colors and things like that. So it's got the powder coat finish on it. So let's make it, say, a bog standard red. You can see that the texture of it, it's probably hard to see in the video, but there is actually the texture of the powder coated. Just like that. Or you can get granular. I want a nice purple. There we go. Hit properties. And done. So, like I said, the items is a good way to select each piece of the bodies and masses that you've created. Oh, I just realized I've forgotten the pin as well. So I'm going to select the pin. Where is it there? And if I hit change, I can go to one that we've already got. So I could do like a nice polished steel. There we go, that looks pretty good. So, sorry, as I was saying, with the items, you can select the individual bodies that you've made. But if you wanted to do a particular surface, you can, with the pencil, actually just click on the individual surface. So say with this bit of the blade holder, I wanted, say, the chamfer to be a certain color or material. You can also do that. So if we select this, for instance, and I'm just going to show you this really quickly. If we hit change and now say I wanted that to be an anodized metal, it will obviously change that section manually. It isn't done the whole thing. So if I hit properties again and click out of this second, so you can see that looks pretty cool. I like that. Very rare that you would see a pizza cutter like that, but it depends on how high end it is. I'm just going to undo that one for now. Brilliant. So that gives you an insight of how to use ShapR and to get it to a almost photoreal sort of visual. Another thing I like to do with the properties is you can hit environment and you can actually change how the background looks. So you can actually change it to a white background. You can also play around with the camera settings as well in there. So it's a really nice way to get a really nice visual. You can do exploded views as well. And you can hit capture as well, and you can take a screenshot, which is a really handy thing to do. I hope that's helped. Obviously, I'm around for any additional help if needed. But yeah, go and explore the app. It's really good.